1. I'm the manager of a small college's IT help desk, consisting of me and 5 student employees that report to me. I've told my student workers in the past that if they experience any alarming vitriol from their client, to transfer the call to me to handle. They don't get paid nearly enough to sit around and listen to ignorant people calling them names, so I'm a very protective mama bear when it comes to the way they are treated. That being said, I recently hired a new student worker, one who is pretty well versed in IT concepts, at least well enough to handle Tier 1 tech support on a college campus. I was out of the office for a minute getting lunch, so he attempted to handle a rather heated client, a parent whose daughter was attending online class with the school. I returned and he described the call to me, so I just had to share. "Thank you for calling. This is Samson. How can I help you?" "Hi, yes, my daughter is attending an online class and can't see the board. Can you fix that?" "I'm sorry, just to clarify, what kind of issue is she experiencing when trying to view the lecture? Is the feed cutting out?" "No, nothing like that. There's a glare on the board, so she and the other students can't see what's being written on the board." "Well, it doesn't sound like that would be something we could handle, as it sounds like a lighting issue specific to the professor's setup. Has your daughter asked the professor to make changes to the setup to accommodate students?" "This is obviously an IT issue. That's why I called the IT help desk. You need to send someone over to the classroom to move the camera." "I understand, ma'am, and I can certainly look into this for you. Can I get the professor's name and the room number of the class?" "Can't you just look it up?" "I can't look up anything without knowing who the professor is." "I don't know. It's something that starts with S." "Ma'am, I need to know the full last name of the professor. There are several individuals teaching at this college whose name begins with S. So if I were to look up the information you provided me, we would be here all day and the issue would not be resolved." "Can you give me the name of the professor, because this guy obviously doesn't know how to look up a name." My student worker was reasonably getting irritated at this point, but he maintained his composure. Eventually, she gave him the name, which was a hilariously complex name that he would never have guessed in a million years. She was, however, unable to provide a room number. "Alright, so what I can do here is send an email to the professor on your daughter's behalf, letting him know that his current streaming setup is causing students issues in being able to view the board. I can let him know that if he's having any issues with the setup, we can send a technician out to his classroom to assist, as he would be able to provide us with the room number." "That isn't good enough. You need to send someone out there right now. I'm sure that it's those ridiculous smart boards that are causing the problem, making it difficult to actually read anything going on. Here, I've got a suggestion for you. Why don't you take that COVID money you've leached from the government and use it to buy black boards? Those are reliable." "I'll make sure someone is aware of your feedback. Unfortunately, as you do not know the building or room number, I'm unable to dispatch a technician to the location. I can certainly send that email out, though, to see if there's anything that can be done. In the meantime, I recommend that your daughter reach out to the professor as well, as this may allow for a more immediate resolution. Is there anything else I can help you with today, ma'am?" "Yeah, listen, your school ought to be paying me some of that COVID money since I'm putting in the work that you aren't. At least that way I know it's going to good use." "I understand. Will that be all for you today, ma'am?" She hangs up. Part of me hopes that this individual was just joking around, but I didn't field the call. I only have my new hire's word to go on. This is largely paraphrased based on what he told me, but he later went on to describe that her tone was very aggressive and hostile from the beginning of the call. We still don't know why she called IT instead of having her daughter send a message in the Teams chat to her professor in the first place. 2. I worked in tech support, essentially acting as a second pair of eyes for people calling in. "There's no option to send." "Did you try clicking the big green send button?" "No one told me that." You get the deal. As a tech support technician, I helped with tech. One thing I did not handle was accounts, billing, contracts, etc. Even if I wanted to, it's not something I had any level of access to see, much less perform. Users had to email or call their account managers who worked 9 to 5. Everyone who used our service had annual contracts, paid either yearly or, more commonly, month to month. We had a pretty idiot-proof method of ensuring accounts didn't go delinquent: daily emails, voicemails from the AM, and a huge banner across the tool that cannot be dismissed, stating exactly how many days they had until their account was suspended due to non-payment. Enter Chad. Chad calls in at 1900 EST. or just exactly past midnight in London where he was based, screaming the site was down. It wasn't. I look up his account and see it's suspended due to 6 months of non-payment. Ugh. I inform him of this, and he'll need to back pay plus late fees in order to restore service. I inform him he'll need to call in tomorrow during business hours to settle this with AM. In a word, explosion! 10 minutes of him screaming no one told him. Our system is terrible, he deserves 3 months for his ordeal, the usual. I pulled up his history and can see email read receipts showing he clicked on the delinquency emails, as well as login history showing he was logged into the system and had seen the banners. I didn't even bother bringing this up. Chad doesn't accept the answer that no one is in the building except me and 6 others, and demands I reset the system, which I cannot do. Then he demands I call AM's personal phone number, which I do not have. I don't know them. To wake them up to process it. He hangs up and calls back. But I grabbed him out of the queue, so no one else had to deal with him. At this point, Chad states that they will not get off the call until this is resolved. Admittedly, Chad had me a bit there, since we are, under no circumstances, allowed to hang up calls unless they threaten violence or legal, which he had not done. It was also 8 p.m. at that point, and I needed to make the last train home, so I did the only thing I could think of, and transferred him to my cell, hiding the number. I packed up, walked out of the building, and walked across to the train. When he heard the noise, he asked what was happening, so I just replied, I know you've said you're not ending the call, and I know I've told you the solution, which is to call your AM when the business opens. I need to start heading home, so I figured we can multitask and go over these options as many more times as you need to understand while I head home. Now, which part would you like to go over again? How long until an account is suspended? I think I broke him. I got a solid 30 seconds of silence, followed by screaming that he understood it, but didn't accept it, blah, blah, blah. So I started my hour-long commute home with this guy. The train was super loud, so I had to keep asking him to repeat himself, and sometimes I did for fun. Conversation went like, sorry, train is super loud, can you repeat? Are you asking me why I don't know a stranger's cell number again? Well, your AM is not someone I know, I'm not friends with them. You have their email to contact them yourself. Super peppy the whole time, talking to them like I was explaining shapes to a toddler. He finally lost it halfway through, said he was suing me personally, and I got to hang up. I was fully expecting an office trip the next day, but strangely nothing happened. The account moved to expired 3 months later, and all the data was deleted. Last I heard, it had gone to a UK collections agency. 3. I have some IT experience in general things I've learned over the years. I made a switch from IT to security because I liked being able to tell Karen to please go away or I'll call the cops. Currently, I work for a security group at a hospital overnights, and I discovered an issue with the camera system early into my employment. Old manager either did not care or did not understand enough to care. After almost a year, I was promoted because old manager left. Someone filled his spot and I filled theirs. I took it upon myself to learn as much as I can about our camera systems. I was able to discover that we, security, don't have much control over the camera because we are contracts and not essential. Now granted, I know if your world feels and seems safe, you don't worry about security, but as far as security goes, we need to be able to see what goes on around the place. I was able to make some things easier by changing the amount of cameras we can watch on 2 screens from 16 on 2 monitors, 32 in total, to 36 on 2 monitors, 72 in total. Gradual, of course, so no one was angry by the amount of change. Sorry about the long background, just annoyed about how long it took to get this issue fixed. So the issue is this: on one monitor we have the ability to set up camera profiles that include cameras from multiple servers. On the other monitor we only have one server to choose from for a camera profile setup. After I was promoted, I decided I was going to fix this issue and allow the second monitor to be able to see the other camera options. It would simplify camera profile options and clean up the monitors from needing to jump from one monitor to the other to see if someone is walking down a hallway or not. So I submit a ticket and try to write as well as I can because I believe I don't know the system well enough to say, hey, fix this, computer jargon, now. Apparently, I may have oversimplified or not made the issue clear because I get an email back 2 months later that I need to log out and log back in using our security credentials. Seems pretty straightforward, right? I tried a ton of troubleshooting. The system auto-logins to the camera system, so I couldn't simply do a forgot password reset. My boss said he doesn't know about any default security logins. I looked for default logins, none. I tried different people's logins, nothing. I found different server ID logins, didn't work. I did all this with the permission of my boss. I spoke with my boss and he said to speak to the head security guy for the hospital. So I shoot him an email asking for details about the program so I can fix the monitors. He sent back an email saying step by step how to log out and log back in with pictures. No, he didn't tell me what the login was. I asked him and he referred me back to IT. So I send another ticket. 2 weeks later, nothing. I try again. Nothing. I talked to my boss and his boss because they would also like to see this issue corrected. Neither are tech savvy and would rather I handle it. I ask if it would be okay if I escalate the issue to the head of IT. They say yes, so I do. And I try to spell out everything, what monitor ID is using what server, what computer logins I've tried, what one monitor is able to do and what the other can't. Guess what? Another email about how to log in and log out. I'm getting furious because I feel like I'm getting the runaround. So one morning at the end of my shift, instead of emailing them, I call. I was hoping to speak to someone, but I got an after-hours voicemail. I had tried this in the past, but was sent another email. I state that I am the third shift supervisor and have tech support training, and I'm tired of being treated like I don't know how to log into a program. I say that either one of two things is going to happen. They are either going to come down and look at this, or I'm going to come up there to get them. More or less. I was sleepy and angry about being told to log in and out. About 10 minutes before the end of my shift, I get a call on a security phone with someone from IT, saying he is sorry we've had this issue for so long and he is here to help. I explain everything again, but this time he remotes in and sees exactly what I'm talking about. Security didn't have admin access, so a lot of the stuff he pulled up I wouldn't have been able to see. Turned out that the security profile for that computer was set up incorrectly. Whoever set up the program at the start only allowed the program to see one server and nothing else. So what did he do? He found the credentials for the other monitor and logged into the other monitor with those. He set it up too so that when the computers are forced to restart, it would use the new logins and not the old, repeating this issue. I thanked him so much for finally fixing the issue, and said that while logging out and in was the fix, I wouldn't have been able to do anything like what he did. He laughed and tried to recruit me to IT. I got out of tech support because I got yelled at too much by people who broke their own stuff, so I declined and again thanked him. All in all, this took 3, almost 4 months to get fixed. Sorry for the rant. I've only ever been able to tell one other person that understood my frustration. 4. A bit of context. Back in 2018, I used to work for a company which supplied service desk services to the national offices of a huge pharmaceutical. Our work was basically take the incoming calls from the client, the pharmaceutical office employees, solve them in the first level, and, if not possible, route the issue to the second level, local IT teams, since our service desk team was remote. The cast is me, yours truly, 123 Anderson 4, user, someone who thought they were better than they really were, L2 Bro, my friend on the level 2 support team, a local team hired specifically for issues when there is an absolute need of someone physically touching the computers. On to the story. The day was going calm. Suspiciously calm. I was already 3 hours in and had 0 calls until... Service desk, 123 Anderson 4, how can I help you?
This is absurd. I've been trying to talk to you guys for 2 hours, and the line's always busy.
The fact that theirs was the first call of the day proved this statement is a lie.
I can't receive emails, and my email client isn't working. Fix it.
Sure, I just need your user ID first, please.
I can't believe it. Every time you guys ask for my ID, don't you remember me?
The fact that we receive calls from the whole country makes it clear that we don't remember each and every voice. Also, they never mentioned their name during this call, as well.
I'm user. My name is user ID.
Okay, user, just give me a minute to check some things. Do you have network access?
I have no idea. I can't receive emails. That's all I know.
You got an error message on email client?
What? No. Where did you get that from? Coworker told me on an instant messenger that she sent me something that I need to see.
Okay, that means they may still have network. Understood. Just give me a moment. I'll connect to your computer to check what could be going on.
Do it fast.
I remote into their computer, and it's a huge mess as usual. Dozens of spreadsheets open at the same time, browser open with several tabs, and apparently one of them playing music. Their company used to allow music, but due to events I have no idea about, this policy changed before I left the service desk. Basically, their computer was overworked. Among the other windows, I found the email client window frozen. I see, your computer seems to be overworked and the email client froze. All we need to do now is close the program and reopen it.
I already tried that, moron!
Surprised by being insulted during a recorded call. Oh. Okay. In this case, we need to reboot the computer.
Not happening!
I'm sorry.
You won't reboot my computer. I need to work. It'll take my time and I'm busy.
You need your email working, correct?
Yes.
Have you tried using the webmail service?
That thing's stupid. All my contacts are on my email client.
If the program won't close and the computer can't be rebooted, I can't solve the issue.
Such incompetence. Get me your supervisor.
In time. Our service desk had no supervisor, in the sense of someone who could overrule something to get things done. The best we could do was escalate the issue to Level 2 local IT teams. You want me to send the issue to the Level 2 team so they can send someone over to your desk?
You thought of that by yourself, or someone helped you reach that conclusion? Yes, I want someone here. Now!
My eardrums still hurt just by remembering them shouting in my earpiece. I comply just to save the hearing on my right side. My left side is a bit bad due to previous non-work-related injuries. Wrote a ticket to the Level 2 team with notes of their behavior. Ticket description: user's email client froze and won't close. User won't allow a reboot. User agitated. Done, user. There's a ticket for you on Level 2's queue. They'll get to you as soon as possible.
They have 5 minutes.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. I want someone here in 5 minutes or I'll go straight to your boss.
Joke's on them. My boss isn't even part of their company. I can't give you an estimate of when someone will be by your desk. As I don't have access to the Level 2's queue, they could be with you in minutes or take hours, depending on what they have going on.
You've been warned. 5 minutes.
And they hang up. After that call, we got back to the tranquility of before. Had 2 more calls that day, but easy work with nothing worth of a story. The following day, I got a message from L2 Bro. Hey, 123 Anderson 4. Why didn't you solve the issue with the user yesterday? They demanded someone locally. I got to the computer and rebooted it, but they kept saying that they didn't have time to waste waiting for us, that they could have rebooted the computer themselves, and even asked why the client keeps us on their tab if we're this useless. They what? I shit you not, they're insane. You added this conversation on the ticket log, right? Of course, I've covered my ass, you covered yours. The system records automatically all calls we receive. I hope this one gets randomly picked for revision. You don't know the worst part. After I finished rebooting, they logged in and opened the browser first, going to YouTube, checking personal emails, even a finance blog, before even trying to open the email client. The chat went about us bad-mouthing the user and hoping for them to be fired for any kind of shit they do in company time that's not work-related. To my surprise, I got an email later with an evaluation of my service from the user. It's an automated email, yes, but it's about the user's call, had their ticket and their user ID, and in a field reserved for observations they laid on me, saying I was rude and called them names, and even said they should jump off a bridge. I brought it to my supervisor's attention, since he was the one responsible for our company's contact with the client. He took the issue directly with HR, and that was the moment I found that the user, prior to my hiring, had similar issues with other people on the service desk. Last I heard about the user, They've been demoted to someone's assistant, and they've been put back on interpersonal training. I got out of that job weeks after this incident. 5 years ago, I ran the local office of a third-party repair firm in my city. We were a national company in Canada. As a result, we had contracts with companies with offices all over. One day I get a call from a branch manager at a company a 3-hour drive away, each way. Apparently, the terminal at the reception desk is not working. Yes, it was that long ago, it was a terminal CRT hooked to their main computer. The manager identified himself, told me the receptionist was not in this morning, and he needed to use the terminal to get some information, etc. I looked up his account and the type of terminal. I then asked him if there was a green power light in the bottom right corner. Of course he said yes. I then asked him if he could see a knob on the base sticking up from the right-hand side on the front. He said yes. I was now a bit suspicious of how fast he responded. He would answer right away, no pause, nothing. But I continued, as I did not want to make a 6-hour round-trip drive. I then asked him if he could hear a high-pitched whine coming from the CRT. This type of CRT, when the brightness is turned all the way down, would emit a noticeable high-pitched whine. He said he cannot hear anything and needs it to work. He is getting more irritated and just told me to get someone down there right away to fix the issue and stop wasting his time. I then advised him, as is standard, if we have a tech come out and there is nothing wrong, he will be responsible for a minimum 6-hour billing, plus on-site time. Shouting, he said,
"Get someone down here as soon as possible and get it working since it is broken."
He then slammed down the phone. Grabbing a full replacement terminal, toolkit, testing gear, etc., I loaded up my car and started driving to this site. Before leaving, I called my head office and advised them that I was heading out on this long drive and would be unavailable for at least 3 hours, but would touch base with them when I got to the client. Age before cell phones, I had a voice pager. Important. When I got to the client site, I walked in. As soon as I stepped in the building, I could hear the high-pitched whine. Looking to my left, I saw a terminal, power light, etc., at the reception desk, but a blank screen. I looked around, saw another employee sitting a distance away. I identified myself, held up my ident card, then reached over and turned the brightness knob. There on the screen was a login for their system. The employee came over, leaned closer, and said to me, "I could hear his entire call with you this morning. He was talking so loud into the phone. And he never came out of his office. After he slammed his phone down, he said loudly to me, 'They're sending an idiot tech to fix the terminal. He wanted me to do his testing for him.'" She had a big, satisfied grin on her face, and then went and told him I was there. His office was way across the building. When he came out, I explained the problem was the brightness was down all the way, and also said how strange it was that he could not hear the high-pitched whine when he tried it this morning while on the phone. He turned a nice shade of red, but said nothing. I then advised him he would be billed for the service call, as due to the heat coming from the terminal, I could tell it had been on for many hours. I then brought up the internal diagnostic from the terminal on screen, which showed how many on hours it had been since the last time it was turned off. It had not been turned off for weeks. I suspected the receptionist using the terminal just turned the brightness down when she left at the end of the day. I wrote up the service call, he signed it, and I left. When the typical steaming pile hit the fan when this company's head office saw the bill, it was easily explained. I played on the phone the recording I had made on the phone call, and what the person at the office told me when I got there. I had a voice pager, and as a result would use the recorder to record the voice page if I was driving when it came in. I also used it at other times. Yes, we are one-party consent. When this was heard, the person from the head office sighed, said, "Not again. I will approve the billing." We were paid. 2 months later, I was in the city again visiting the other clients, and had enough time to drop in and say hi at this client, not planned. The receptionist was there, as well as the other person who I talked to last time. This other person was grinning. I asked to speak to the manager of the branch, and was told he was no longer employed there. Apparently, he was let go within a week of the service call. He was also one of those managers. To make his bottom line look good, did not want to pay for a spare terminal to have on site to use just in case. I found out later he had pulled this stunt before with other service techs for other equipment. I guess the company finally had enough of his antics and let him go. I met the new manager, went over a bunch of things, showed him how to hook up a brand new spare terminal if needed, and left. All in all, a great day. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Terrific Tales of Technology, number 5. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Now, before I go on, I'd like to give a little birthday shout out to one of our subscribers, Deirdre. I was actually going to say Deirdre, so it's actually a good thing they included a pronunciation guide. I don't know what their YouTube username is, but Deirdre, thank you very much for being you. I hope you have a very nice birthday today, and that it's filled with cake and booze if you're into that sort of thing, and if not, then perhaps some nice lemonade or maybe cups of tea. Anyway, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Deirdre. Happy birthday to you. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.